Hello everyone and welcome. Today we're going to speak about one of the mightiest armed forces of the world, the British Armed Forces. The British Armed Forces, also known as Her Majesty's Armed Forces, are the military services that are responsible for the defense of the United Kingdom, its overseas territories, and the Crown dependencies. They also promote the UK's wider interests, support international peacekeeping efforts, and provide humanitarian aid. Today, the British Armed Forces consist of the Royal Navy, a blue water navy with a fleet of 77 commissioned ships, together with the Royal Marines, a highly specialized amphibious light infantry force, the British Army, the UK's principal land warfare branch, and the Royal Air Force, a technologically sophisticated air force with a diverse operational fleet that consists of both fixed-wing and rotary aircraft. The British Armed Forces include standing forces, regular reserve, volunteer reserves, and sponsored reserves. When it comes to the Army, the British Army is the principal land warfare force of the United Kingdom and a part of the British Armed Forces. The modern British Army Forces traces back to 1707 with an antecedent in the English Army that was created during the Restoration in 1660. The term British Army would be adopted in 1707 after the Acts of Union between England and Scotland. Members of the British Army swear allegiance to the monarch as their commander-in-chief, but the Bill of Rights in 1689 requires parliamentary consent for the Crown to maintain a peacetime standing army. Therefore, Parliament approves the Army by passing an Armed Forces Act at least once every 5 years. The Army is administered by the Ministry of Defense and commanded by the Chief of the General Staff. When it comes to military expenditures, the military budget is $58.6 billion and also features a percentage of GDP of 2%. In manpower, it features an active personnel of 157,000, a reserve of 75,000, and 15 million available. On land, it has 407 tanks, 4,673 AFVs, 532 artillery, 117 self-propelled guns, and 50 rocket artillery. Nuclear weapons. Third out of fifth nuclear weapon states that are under the NPT, the Treaty of the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons. The first successful test in the nuclear history of Great Britain would occur in October of 1952, 3 years after Russia's first successful attempt. Hurricane, which was the code name for the test, assumed the use of 3 megaton bomb, which was dropped in Australia. The Royal Navy. The Royal Navy is the United Kingdom's naval warfare force. Although warships were used by English and Scottish kings from the early medieval period, the first major maritime engagements were fought in the 100 Years' War against the Kingdom of France. The modern Royal Navy traces its origins to the early 16th century, and the oldest of the UK's armed services is known as the Senior Service. From the middle decades of the 17th century through the 18th century, the Royal Navy vied with the Dutch Navy and later with the French Navy for maritime supremacy. From the mid-18th century, it would be the world's most powerful navy until the Second World War. The Royal Navy played a key part in establishing the British Empire as the unmatched world power during the 19th and first part of the 20th centuries. Due to this historical prominence, it is common, even among non-Britons, to refer to it as the Royal Navy without qualification. This navy features a total naval fleet of 76, which includes 1 aircraft carrier, 6 destroyers, 13 frigates, and 11 submarines. Royal Air Forces. Today, the Royal Air Force maintains an operational fleet of various types of aircraft, described by the Royal Air Force as being leading edge in terms of technology. This largely consists of fixed-wing aircraft, which include fighter and strike aircraft, airborne early warning and control aircraft, I-Star and SIGINT aircraft, aerial refueling aircraft, and strategic and tactical transport aircraft. The majority of the Royal Air Force rotary wing aircraft form part of the Tri-Service Joint Helicopter Command in support of ground forces. Most of the Royal Air Force aircraft and personnel are based in the UK, with many others serving on operations at long-established overseas bases. Although the Royal Air Force is the principal British air power arm, the Royal Navy's Fleet Air Arm and the British Army's Army Air Corps also deliver air power, which is integrated into the maritime, littoral, and land environments. When it comes to the Air Forces, they feature a total aircraft of 888, which includes 141 fighters, 91 multi-role aircraft, and 386 helicopters. Thank you for watching. Have you ever served in the British Armed Forces? And would you? And if so, which branch would you love to serve in? Let us know in the comments below. Also, be sure you're subscribed and have the bell turned on so that you can get more great videos like this one in the future.